All right. Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Trade Trade Group, and it is Friday, January 13th. Happy Friday the 13th. And also, great. Hope everybody has a great long weekend ahead of them. Don't forget, Monday is a market holiday. So what a nice way to kind of end the week in terms of performance. Risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving any advice or recommendations. Well, let's take a look. So a couple of themes in play. I want to just talk very quickly about some of the themes that we've seen this last week. I was on vacation a good portion of the week, but was trading a couple half days in there. But this morning's dip was bought. I think this was really important because we've seen a lot of days. Just bring up the S&P chart here for a second, but we've seen a lot of days where in 2022 where the market started down for the day, it doesn't matter exactly how much, 0.5% down 1%. And there was no appetite to buy the dip, right? A lot of people said that the buy the dip mentality was finished over. And I would agree that was not the case for the majority of the year. You just did not see any appetite to go in and buy the dip on certain days. And a lot of times when we started down like that, we finished, we continued to get hit throughout the day. So this was different. And this was one of my questions to start the day, was that the S&P started the day, down close to 1%. And we did have a level to watch this morning, but that was bought, right after the open. You could see, and if you give it a second, Thinkorswim will adjust to show you that red line was taken out, virgin point of control, and then just up and to the right for the rest of the session. So and breadth improved, and you could see that on our breadth indicator too, which is one of the things that we watch closely throughout the trading session. That it did improve. Now it didn't get super strong, but it did improve, and again, that's a noticeable difference. So really, there was a question I saw somebody put on Twitter earlier about, how do you manage things, and do you make adjustments in your trading and so forth? And always, you can't do the same thing every day, because the market isn't exactly, isn't the same every day, and the market changes over time. So, we know over time that you do have to make adjustments, right? You cannot stay rigid to this market. But when things improve, we've called out, we said since basically towards the end of last week, there was a definitive tone change, right? If you look at the McClellan oscillator, that with the 10-day moving average that crossed over. So, that was a change in tone. And that started, towards the end of last week, when even the market was down, breadth improved on that. So where are we now? It kind of just gives you a sense, so the dip was bought today. Overall, there's just been an expansion in breadth, right? Which is a confirming indicator. That's something that you want to see. As the market is, as the indices are strong, you want to look under the hood and make sure that's the case. We are hitting a little bit, we are hitting resistance. I got this question today about the 200-day moving average. Yes, it's important to kind of take note of that. That's why I have the moving averages on my charts, is because, sometimes they will provide a signal. And you could see throughout 2022, right? Here is a test here that failed. Right after price got above here, retest, fail, test here, fail, test here, fail, test. The last test was on this 1213. Eventually, and I don't know if it's this time around, but eventually price will get through the 200-day moving average, right? I can't tell you if this is going to be the time that it does it. And I think it's really important to to monitor what happens here, right? And don't stay rigid. If we start to back away from the top of value, right? Because we're also at resistance here on the using volume at price in the TTG Market Webs indicator. So this 4017 level is going to be important to watch. And one of the things that could also happen is we go sideways here before taking this out. But yes, why do I think that eventually the 200-day moving average will get taken out? Because all bear markets end, and it's just a matter of time. And again, it could be a longer spectrum, could be a shorter spectrum. That's why we pay attention to what the market is telling us on a day-to-day basis. But and it's the same thing, by the way, with bull markets. All bull markets end too. And that's why we're not perma. All right. One of the things too that, I put out this tweet earlier, the equally weighted S&P 500 made it above the 200-day moving average, and no one said a peep about that. So, why do I think that that's important? Because it's basically showing you stronger breadth. For me, I posed this question again earlier on Twitter. Would you rather have slim participation like we saw for a little while with the FANG stocks carrying a lot of the weight to the market, or would you rather have more broad-based participation? My vote is more broad-based participation. So I think that what we're seeing right now is pretty healthy in the markets, but we've got you can't really relax your risk management, right? And your discipline. We've got earnings coming out for the next 2 weeks. That's going to be the big, I think that's going to move to the top of the headlines, is what some of these companies, how they managed through the last quarter and what their guidance is going to be going forward. So I move that to kind of the top of, somewhere top of the list, in terms of priority right now. And there's going to be some companies, I believe, that are going to report bad quarters. And there's going to be some companies that weathered this last storm over the last quarter, and that's really going to be interesting to watch. So we talked about that earlier in the day. I'm not going to rehash that because I talked about that a lot for members, but I just wanted to give you the week's performance. SPY was up 2.7%. IWM, really astounding numbers, up 5.3%. And when you look at microcaps, right, the smallest companies, they were up 6.7% for the week. Q's really outperformed. International, I just want to review these charts too. To kind of take a look at this, right? Again, nobody really talking too much. I think people are now talking about international a little bit more, but look at what EFA is doing. If you're not familiar with this ETF, it's International Developed Markets. So it is another way to call it. But this is now, look at what this is doing. There's the bear market is over in international developed markets, right? This has made a huge move from the lows, back tested the 200-day moving average, and is moving back above, right? And this is mainly European equities as well as Japan. If you want to look at emerging markets, right, they also had a nice week too, right? And they're above the 200-day moving average. And look at how much further they're above the December highs. So they continue to trend higher. It's pretty impressive, right, to see international start making some of these moves. And again, this is a stronger market when you look at some of the international, which we haven't really seen participate for a while. So I think that's a good thing. Gold was up 3% for the week. I see a lot of people tweeting about gold charts. Sure. This is interesting as well to see gold start moving up. I even think the base metals, right? When you throw in what copper is doing, there's a chart for this. It's DBB, right? You're really seeing the base metals kind of move out of the range too, right? And you could see what's going on here too. So, does it mean that we just continue to go up in a straight line, through earnings? No, I don't think so. So I think you do have to curb your enthusiasm a little bit and remember your risk, what you learned in 2022, which many people I think did, to be a risk manager, to be disciplined, right? And that understanding. Sectors, really, really strong this week. A lot of sectors over 5-6% for the week. A couple standouts to me was what happened in the steel names. You just go through these steel stocks. This is something that I've been talking a lot about through Substack. So make sure that you are signed up for my Substack articles that come out. I've been doing this, just one of the small things that we do at Tribeca Trade Group is I run a scan at the end of the day to see which areas are really trending above multiple time frames. So I've been putting that out, and it's all for free for now. But things like this have been really strong. I got long some CLF earlier in the week. Cleveland Cliffs, really, really nice performance there. And I even like things like a US Steel, I think has more ahead of it. I mean, look at the nice base that's been going on. But, you could go through these names. TS is a name that I recently met, but all of these are in uptrends and trending very nice. And the steel ETF, had a huge week. And again, that's been showing, that group has been showing strength for more than obviously just this week, up 7%. And I like what the oil names are doing too. OIH was something that we talked about about a week ago, and this broke out to new highs, right? Nat gas lagging a little bit, did come back a little bit today, but really strong. And if you go through some of these charts, COP, Conoco, which I like this name, just recouped the 50-day moving average. So there's some that are still, that are new setups. You could use the 50-day moving average, right, as your stop. So I think that's a really strong group. I want to talk a little bit about biotech, right, and how we use overhead supply and the TTG market webs, right? Take a look at that VPOC takeout. So if you're planning a trade like I did, break out of value, know exactly where to take targets in this trade. Now, of course, I'm looking for something more. So we'll have to basically see if this can kind of hang in here and maybe go higher, because this is one hell of a congestion period. And it's usually the more congestion like this, the more possibility that we continue to go higher. But I'm happy to re-enter on the confirmation that it could get back above 88.80. For now, it was a nice, 1-day trade basically, because I just entered this trade yesterday morning. So, here's my exit. I did take another target a little bit higher. But really nice move there. Couple other groups too that I think are notable. All right, and then another group, of course, has been the industrials. I mean, super strong when you dig in and you look at individual names in here. Caterpillar has been the leader. It got an, I don't know why it got an upgrade today by Bank of America. It seems a tad late, but it is what it is. And then if you kind of go through, GE is another name that's been, people, I don't see a lot of people talking about this name, but really has been really strong. Boeing, of course, stopped at that VPOC, that upside VPOC was my target in the name, but super strong as well. And Boeing and the aerospace, I even neglected the airlines because I just was seeing other areas where there was strength in the aerospace, the companies that actually make the planes and so forth. But I mean, the Jets airline ETF has been really nice. XLB, this was a trade that a swing trade that I had on, and I took profits in it, and I think I could have held on a little bit longer. But I like what's going on. And again, you dig into some of these groups, there is no chemicals ETF, but if you go through, this is a really nice group too. The CE, pausing here a little bit. Other like some transportations are doing really good. PCAR is a chart that we went over in the TTG trading room today, right? So commercial vehicle type companies, CMI is another one too, right? So, again, really interesting. And then when you go over to consumer discretionary, I got a lot of pushback a couple weeks ago. I think about 2 weeks ago, I was talking about how consumer discretionary outside of Amazon and outside of Tesla, which dominate that XLY ETF, but this is the equally weighted consumer discretionary. Look at how this thing has been basing and moving higher, right? And things like Starbucks, right? Which I love the little consolidation here after a run up, right? Little tight consolidation. I'm long this name, looks pretty good. But I could go on and on with names. I think Deere is setting up for possibly a move above the value area. I think that looks pretty good. And then if you kind of go into, some tech really did well today, and growth like I said, had a huge week. And one name that I've got an eye on for next week is Monster Beverage. Look at how coiled this thing is. So, we're not seeing any shortage of setups. And again, that could change. But certainly, I think there's a lot of things to look forward to this year. And And I think that that if you pace yourself and you're patient and realize it's a long year, you know, that I think that's the right way to kind of look at it. Here's how our watch list. I had a pretty, I don't want to say thin watch list because you got a lot of names in here, but we broke this out by sectors as well, which I've been doing. But look at the performance of some of these names that we put together on Sunday. Now, I didn't trade every one of these names clearly, but this is the list that I provide to Tribeca Trade Group members, customers, so that they kind of have a sense of what I'm looking at as we enter the week, and really strong performance. And again, it's just a starting point for the week. Of course, we look at other things. You know, ENPH was a nice trade setup. LVS, I took profits in that name today. ATI, which is another steel name, which I didn't have on the list to start, but I mean, super. I mean, you know, look at what ATI has been doing. Right. This was a trade that a name that I put on earlier in the week. All right, guys, that's it. I'm gonna leave it here for the week. Have a great long weekend, everybody. And if you're not a member of Tribeca Trade Group, give it a try. All right. I think you could still access our 50% off plan right now for new members. And I think that's a great way to see how we analyze markets and names, as the day unfolds, as well as the preparation that we do when the market is closed. Have a great weekend, everybody.